And now, the news. I just love to say that. I apologize. That's my sense of humor. So I like to sit down and go, and now the news. Well, there's not going to be much news in this particular broadcast. I'm going to talk to you today about a couple of things that I've been thinking about. And that is, your opinion matters. My opinion matters. Now, I can't decide whether I'm going to call this m.o.m, m.o.m, for my opinion matters, or y.o.m, y.o.m, for your opinion matters. But your opinion does matter. It really does. YouTube has given us the opportunity to express our opinion. Every person out there now has the opportunity, although very few people are going to really do it. YouTube has given us the opportunity now to express our opinion. And as I've said in all my other videos, I'm coming up on 76 years. That's why it's called Free Advice from 76 Years, Retired and a Grumpy Old Toad. Although I don't consider myself to be that grumpy. But I'm having a good time with this. I'm having a good time with YouTube. And I want to talk about some of the things that I've learned in developing a YouTube channel. And I even wrote them down. So I could go over them. YouTube is giving us the opportunity to express our opinion. Young people nowadays need to hear information and the opinion of older people. Wait, am I an older people? You know, I recently said I was going to go visit some old friends. The fact of the matter is, most of my old friends are, and actually are, old. You look around one day and you say, oh no, I'm in a room filled with old people. What am I doing in here with all these old people? And then you look and you realize that you are one of them. So, YouTube is giving us the opportunity to express our opinion. And you should take it. I would highly recommend that if you're retired and you're a senior citizen, just take a little bit of time each day. I mean, you're retired. You're sitting at home. You have nothing to do. You've cleaned the cars. You've cut the grass. You've kicked the cat. Why not take time to sit down and tell your story to YouTube? Your story. Now, part of my story is I used to speak better than I speak now, but because of excessive dental work, I don't have as clear a sound as I once had. That's part of my story. That's part of my life. But my health actually improved after I had this dental work done. People need to hear your story. People need to hear why we do things. People need to hear about, especially young people. Young people nowadays need to hear about what it was like to grow up in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And what it was like, or to grow up in the 40s. Now, I was born in 1950, so the 50s and 60s, those were my growing years. In 1970, I was 20 years old, but I wasn't fully grown and I wasn't fully mature. But young people need to hear it. Young people need to hear that I am a Vietnam veteran, and I spent almost 1 year in South Vietnam, and I got a couple of medals. Yeah, young people need to hear this. Young people need to hear about what it was like when the telephone was something mounted on the wall and you had to deal with a party line. Young people need to hear your story. Not just my story, but they need to hear your story. They need to hear the struggles that we have gone through. They need to hear, why did we buy a house instead of renting? Why did we buy a car? How we lived all of those years without all of the technology that is available now. This is part of history, and young people need to hear it. So, YouTube is giving you and me the opportunity to express your opinion. So if there is any new world news in the world today, it's this. that we have an opportunity that our ancestors, our predecessors never had. And that is the opportunity to sit down in front of a camera and express our opinion. And the opinion may not always be agreeable, and people may not always like hearing your opinion, but it gives you an opportunity to voice your opinion. Are you mad at the government? Get on YouTube and say so. Are you unhappy with the way things are going? Get on YouTube and say so. Are you a Christian and you want to see the gospel spread around the world? Perfect opportunity on YouTube. I once said to a friend of mine who was a pastor, I said, and he preached very good messages. I said, you should be on YouTube. He says, oh, I'll never go that way. I'm like, what? It's another opportunity for you to present the gospel. It is an opportunity for people to hear what you have to say. Now, one more time, especially for retired people, because those of us who are retired that are not working regular jobs, we're collecting a Social Security check, or we're living off of a 401k retirement, we now have the time, like never before, to express ourselves. If you're an old hippie left over from the 1960s, now's your chance to get up there in front of the camera and go, peace, baby. Or if you're a pastor of a church, now is your chance to get in front of a camera and say, for God so loved the world, that gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth on him should not perish, but have eternal life. Here's the opportunity, and we've got to take advantage of it. So you have the opportunity to express your opinion. We actually have the opportunity as Americans today that no one else has ever had in history, and that is the opportunity to live more, to be more than you are now. It takes effort. It takes effort to sit down and do some reading and some thinking and put our thoughts on paper and then put our thoughts onto the video. But effort, it takes effort, and effort is what makes us grow. Effort is what makes us grow. Anybody that's ever been in any kind of an exercise program trying to improve their health, they know and understand that it takes effort to make you grow. When I first went into the military in the late 1960s, I was in relatively good shape. I was a kid that grew up on a farm. I was used to hard work. Hard work was part of our life. We didn't know any different. We didn't have video games and social media to sit around and chat with our friends all the time. No, it was hard work. When I went into the military, one of the first things they do is teach you about how to live the hard life. It's called basic training. And I've had friends of mine tell me that they were in different branches of the service, and in their basic training, they were allowed to go home for supper. I'm like, what? We were on a closed base. We could not leave that base for 6 weeks. There was no opportunity to go downtown or go home. It was a closed base. Of course, it was also during the Vietnam War. But what am I trying to say here? We have the opportunity. We have the opportunity to tell our story. We have the opportunity, and that comes from taking a little effort each day to sit down, put a few thoughts on paper, and then put those thoughts on YouTube. Let me move on here. So what I'm trying to say is that if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, now's the time to do it. If you're thinking about sitting down and making some notes and expressing how you feel, what you think, and what you've done, now is the time to do it. And by the way, my glasses are not on crooked. My head is just the shape of my head. Stick to it. Stick to it and don't give up. But instead, learn more, be willing to grow, and be willing to grow big. Remember to live more, to do more, to be more. More is better, much better. I don't want to be less. George Burns, when he was about 100 years old, was making TV commercials, and at his age he said, more is less. But that was George Burns, and he was about 100. For those of us who have many good years left, and we're financially taken care of, and we're living on our retirement, now is the opportunity to turn on this smartphone and express your opinion. Here's an opinion I would like to express. Sunday morning, very early, when I found out that pilot had been rescued, that F-15 pilot, Weston, he was a weapons system operator. What we used to call, when I was in the Air Force, we called him a backseater. He was in the back seat. That's why they call backseaters. It was all logical that he was rescued. I mean, I was so happy that they rescued that man. It's a tremendous story. That's my opinion. I'm glad he was rescued. I'm happy, and I know that everybody in the military was happy. That's my opinion. Happiness. And of course, there's a few people out there that don't think it was so great, but I think it was wonderful. So stick to it. Stick to it and don't give up, but instead learn more. Be willing to grow and to grow big. Why not? Why not grow bigger at age 76? And I don't mean gain weight. I can't gain weight. Every time I go to the VA and see my doctor, they check my weight, they check my blood pressure. I'm not talking about growing big that way. I'm talking about growing big up here and down here. Grow bigger in your mind, grow bigger in your heart. We still have room that we can expand and we can grow and we can learn. I went to an excellent Bible study last night. The Bible study is conducted by one of the deacons at our church. His name is Rodney, and I won't say his last name because he may not want me to broadcast it. But Rodney does a great job on Bible study. He takes the time, he studies the scripture, and he shares his studies with a group. He must have had 15 or 16 people in his living room last night. You can grow. You can learn. We can be. All right. Why not? Why not grow bigger at age 76? Now, here's what I do. In the mornings, almost every morning, I will get up and sit down with my notebook and I will write out 3 pages. And I will take the effort to write out those 3 pages. And you might say, why write out 3 pages? Some of those pages end up here on YouTube. But I've been writing 3 pages a day, 5 to 6 days a week for the last, I don't know how many years. I've got stacks and stacks of notebooks. I will say consistently I've been doing it for 25 years. Consistently. You sit down and you put your thoughts on paper. And after you put your thoughts on paper, you kind of condense those thoughts. As you can see, I only have one sheet here. You condense those thoughts. And then you can sit down and put those thoughts on YouTube. So if I've learned anything from YouTube so far is that it gives us the ability to express our opinion. Your opinion matters. Remember that. Your opinion matters. Your opinion is going to matter when it comes time to vote. Your opinion matters when it's time to go to church. Your opinion matters when you sit down with your friends over a cup of coffee and discuss world events. Your opinion matters and is shown in how you dress and how you live. Your opinion is extremely important. Not only your opinion, but your philosophy, your theology. All of these are very, very important. I know there's been an effort over the last several years to push down the individual, to get rid of individualism, to get rid of American exceptionalism. But it's not right, and it's not true. You, as an individual, have the opportunity to express your opinion and express your beliefs. The United States, as a country, as America, has the opportunity to be exceptional again. I heard some young people recently say they were talking about MAGA, but they didn't say make America great again. They said make America godly again. Make America godly again. And that's what we need to do. And again, this is my opinion. I'm expressing it on YouTube. And this is why you should start a YouTube channel. Okay, so think on paper. Think on paper. Take those thoughts that you put on paper, turn them into a video. Enjoy the time. One favorite expression I had when I was in sales, and I was in sales for many years, and I was in commission sales, did not get a salary, had to provide my own car, had to provide my own insurance, had to take care of my own taxes. I actually had an LLC and an S corporation. And one of the things that I used to say to myself over and over again all those years is this: enjoy the time, make a dime. Enjoy the time, make a dime. Why not? Why not at age 76, even though still retired, why not enjoy the time and make the dime? Think about it. So press on. Whatever happens, press on. Whatever happens, keep on going. Don't give up. What was it that Winston Churchill said? Never, never, never give up. If you haven't read Churchill's books, you should. Well, thanks for watching. This is John Hauser from Free Advice. And yes, I rambled on a lot, but thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. If you have any comments, put them in the section below. And I really appreciate it. I appreciate you helping me grow my channel by giving me a like, a subscribe, and some good comments. If you want to give me some bad comments, I don't mind. I had somebody recently give me not a bad comment, but kind of a snidey comment. And I'm okay with it because it's their opinion. Thanks for watching.